All right, I am back with Kelli Fox, and we went the whole 9 yards and took off our sunglasses.
We revealed ourselves.
We did, and it's the Leo rising. She has a Leo rising too, I have to say.
Yes.
So
But we're so different.
Yes, well, you live in your rising, so I think because you live in it, you're a little bit more reserved. You don't use as much. For me, I throw it on and take it off.
What do you mean I live in it?
Well, your son's in the first house, right?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, so
good.
you are
Right on the
exposed.
ascendant.
Yeah, she's right on. So her whole life, it feels very exposed, and she's right on that edge of opportunity, action all the time. So as a result, I find that people, once they get it, I find that, were you hard to handle when you were young?
How did you know? I was not as refined as what I am now, that's for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine. I was going to say, because I find 2 stages with Sun the First. The Sun the First is like totally obnoxious personality.
Yes, I was a little bit like that.
Yeah, where they're just in your face with a business card every 2 seconds, and you're just like, I got it, kind of thing. But then after they mature, whatever it is, get 70% of their body burned off.
A near-death experience will calm you down a lot.
Yeah, that which is your own fire, probably just.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, like spontaneously combusting. You may have been the only spontaneous combustor to live. In a weird way, like you just slowly spontaneous combusted, I might look into that. It's weird, but
yeah,
possible.
Well, I have a grand fire trine. Does that count for anything?
It does. I think so. Yeah. I mean, and grand trine is, let's just have a little, because I'm sure viewers are curious. What is your grand trine, theory? I mean, what is it? When you see a grand trine in a chart, what's the first thing you think?
Envy.
You have envy?
No, I look at the person when I'm giving a reading, and if I see a grand trine, I'm like, you really have a lot of luck on your side, and things come to you with ease, although you don't always acknowledge that.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they don't.
No, because it comes too easy. When there's a lot of squares in someone's chart, for example, or a grand cross, then I know this person has a very interesting life. Fraught with challenges, tension, and instead of going from point A to B, they go from point A, B, C, D to get to B. No, did that make sense?
Yeah. Well, no, that makes sense. That'll work. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I just know when I see certain configurations in a chart straight away what that tells me.
I have to agree. I mean, I'm sitting here having you speak. Grand trine people with grand trines alone, they are kind of privileged babies, I've noticed.
I've got a grand trine too.
But lots of squares.
Me too.
Yeah, so I'm like, there's things that flow with me, and there's things that do not flow with me.
Absolutely. So there's a combination. Yeah, me too.
I'm easygoing and nuts, both at the same time, and I appreciate it. I think I can relate to both sides.
Yes, totally. Yes.
I see grand trine. I always assume, to me, grand trine is that these people spend a lifetime indulging in that vibration, indulging in that element. So if you have a grand trine in water, these people spent lifetimes indulging in water or lifetimes indulging in fire. And as a result, we're able to bring these conscious points together in their mind because they probably lived one life or two way out of balance. Like for you, you're probably a crazy naked artist, painting, not even having any responsibility or anything. To get a grand trine in fire, you probably had total freedom to go paint and be Renaissance free.
When was this?
I don't know, you tell me.
Oh, you're talking past life.
Yeah, past life, not this life.
Wow, this life, maybe I missed something.
No, to get your grand trine in fire, I'm thinking that you must have had a Renaissance lifetime.
I see what you're saying. It's a reward from past lifetimes.
Well, yes, a reward or how you have wired things together. Like in your mind, I think that, for instance, let's say in fire. So in fire, the 3 points of inspiration are united with that grand trine. The ability to self-love, and that's inspiration right there. Things you love is your inspiration. And then your belief, where it belongs, where it goes in the world and how far it carries, and then how that passion of being an individual of an Aries. So to unite the passion of being an individual and what you love and what you believe in, I think you had a lifetime where you could unite what you love, what you believe in, and who you are. And that just comes natural to you now, this united grand trine.
Sure.
That's my theory. I don't know. We're just astrologers talking. Oh, you don't know?
I don't know because I guess you can't read your own stuff.
She doesn't want to. That's her Leo in the first house humility.
Because right. Because I was thinking of like the South Node. When I hear past life, I just automatically jump to the South Node. That's really the first place you go to, right? When you're looking for past life.
It's definitely for me. Yeah, I look South Node, fourth house, Pluto, lunar eclipse.
Anaretic degrees, like the 29th degree.
Yeah, that to me, yes. I mean, but to me, at 29th, to me though, like that's a final touch. Like as far as like the core story of a person, to me, like the Pluto, the lunar eclipse, and the fourth house.
Prenatal lunar eclipse.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I forget. I looked it up, but
It was May 7th, I remember, and it was. I can't.
Taurus?
You
Yeah.
know what? Okay.
Is it in Taurus?
Yeah, it's Taurus.
Of course it is. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a Taurus. Of course it is.
It's no wait. What degree's your sun?
18.
That's right. That's right. No, my prenatal eclipse is 0.
Oh, that's pretty powerful. That is definitely a Phoenix degree. Yeah, double check it. It's interesting. Go ahead.
Let's see here.
But for past life, I think ultimately I would, to me, the degrees I would look at as a final like telling of the story,
Right.
but the core story I would call to Pluto, lunar eclipse, fourth house, and 12th house.
Wow. Okay, I've just discovered something. I was looking here at the prenatal new moon eclipse, 18.
Holy crap!
Taurus.
Your lunar eclipse is 18? Wow, that's crazy. That's my degree.
Wow.
See?
It's actually the solar eclipse, but hey,
Oh, it's your solar?
it's the prenatal solar eclipse is 18 Taurus, which is right on your sun.
Correct. That means that you've already got a degree doing what I do.
Yeah, and of course, yes, the prenatal lunar eclipse is 3 Scorpio.
Oh, 3 Scorpio. Okay. So 3 would be, I would look at 3 as naivety. In a lunar eclipse, I look at naivety. So it's you coming from a past life of naivety in your beliefs about boundaries and where your emotional boundaries need to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
In Scorpio, yeah.
That's interesting because my Saturn is in Aries, which I think is about boundaries as well, around myself.
Interesting. What degree is your Saturn?
12.
Oh, the teacher again.
Really,
See,
the teacher.
well, that would be the student aiming to be a teacher. So when it comes to your, 12 is wanting to be a 21. You are a 21. That's the teacher. Adds to a 3.
21. Remember the 10, the movie?
Oh yeah.
You want to be
Oh,
a
Derek?
21. Yeah, you want to be a 21.
Yeah, that's a good reference. We used probably right back to the Pluto and Libra 70s there. That was great.
The 70s.
I love it. So what were we talking there? So the lunar eclipse at 3 in Scorpio would tell me that you were born with, and you had Pluto in the first house, so that you just had no experience really protecting yourself, which would again kind of like point to that past life hippie lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, some sort of Renaissance life where she was just running around naked and I'm just having fun here. She's like, not now. I know, not after she learned that, but and was born this life with not an understanding of how to protect your uniqueness and also your high vibration of 21.
Interesting. Okay. No, I'm fascinated by it. I'd like to know more about the steps, and if you have somewhere that I could see what those steps are.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Really interesting.
I have to type them. I will totally. I'm gonna present it.
Showing your age again. Type them up.
Yeah, exactly.
I
went to typing class. Did you go to typing class?
Yes, I did.
I did, yeah.
I was just thinking about that recently.
Yeah.
Sitting in typing class with my friend, and we were so bored. It was like A, B, B, B.
Horrible. I always wondered, like, for me, I spent a lot of time wondering about the typing teacher. It was like, with this guy, I was like, what do you do with your life? You're a typing teacher. He was a weird guy, but yeah, she's right. It was ADSF.
Yeah, exactly. And then nowadays I can always tell which generation someone's from when they're texting.
By the double space?
No, because the young kids do the thumbs,
Okay.
and people of, I'll say, our generation do this, with the finger. One finger compared to 2 thumbs.
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Oh, yeah, the gorilla typing for sure.
typing.
Yeah, they're like little.
Oh, gorilla, 'cause of the
Yeah,
thumbs. Oh, that's
yeah,
clever.
it's very cute. My son is that way. I think it's their thumbs have been permanently formed now in this in this like game controller. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's interesting. So let me hop topics to love for you real quick.
Yeah.
What do you when people always ask love? I mean, that's my number one question in readings. Is that yours?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, and what is your overall approach, generically speaking, to love when it comes to astrology?
I think a lot of people have been misinformed, and the first thing I need to say is compatibility is more than just sun sign matching. It really is all the planets at the time you were born and the signs they were in, how they interact within one's own chart, and then how it interacts with someone else's chart and their planets. And there's a lot of complication and convolution there because there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. The other question I get asked a lot is, are there soulmates or people? I think there's lots of people who we connect with over different lifetimes. I don't believe it's just one person who's our twin flame. I think there's lots of people on different levels. And I think that, and I've heard that a soulmate is somebody who brings challenges. I don't necessarily agree with that. But again, there's no such thing as a perfect relationship.
Hell no, there isn't. Maybe for a few minutes on camera.
It's on camera.
Right? Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. But I agree. I have to say I agree. I mean, and with my clients too. I've done a lot of readings, and I would say for the most part, I can only think of maybe 2 or 3 clients that found new love in this life.
Right.
Everything else was past life.
Yes, absolutely.
Everything was past life.
Absolutely. Everything's an issue that they need to resolve, and if not, it'll keep coming back. I just want to say something. You reminded me, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
Have you ever done their compatibility?
No, I haven't done it. I know they're opposite signs. I mean, but tell me about it.
The inner... Oh, no, now that you've said they're opposite signs, is it them? Now I'm getting them mixed up. I have to look at their compatibility again, but I didn't think their inner planets connected. I thought it was all outer planet stuff. So what that tells me is they're here together for a bigger purpose. And it's more about the Brangelina rather than the heart connection that they might have with each other.
I agree. I think that the that film, The Smiths or whatever they did together, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
I thought that was probably their marriage written for them. They didn't realize it because they're both such great actors when they want to be. I mean, when they believe with their own bullshit, like they're good actors. Like depends on the role and if they're believing it or not, you know. But they're opposites. He's a Sag and she's a Gemini,
Yes.
And so right off the bat, in opposites, I mean, I find that compromise. If you're gonna date your opposite, then the word is compromise right off the bat. You're meeting halfway.
Yes, absolutely.
The whole way.
And it's basically when it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it sucks.
Yeah. And I've actually never known any opposite signs to ever say it's always great.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. It's
definitely the suck part.
there's a seesaw. It's finding the balance because it's going to tip one way or the other. And to get that balance when you're on a seesaw, particularly, you can't stand in the middle because there's 2 of you.
I find that when I read people who are in their opposite sign charts, like the one on one side has a lot of planets in that sign, and the one on that side, the other side, has a lot of planets on that side, and they literally are learning to compromise their position by being with each other.
Yes, totally, they are. And maybe it's the shadow that they're acting out because it's all about projection as well. So, and typically, a classic example is the full moon. So you're walking around, and people are acting out. Well, it's your own behaviour reflecting back at you. So in a marriage, it would be more intense. Mm-hmm. So it's just a reflection back to you and the parts that you don't want to see. And defining either who you are not, which I think is a misconception in relationships. Like, I think relationships are just as valuable for you to find out, I am not this person. I thought I was, but I am not. And that's what a lot of it is definition of the not, so you know who you are. What about this one? I thought I'd married someone and they're not who I thought they were. I do hear that a lot as well.
And my response is, because your mind has no business in love. It's like thinking, it's like, oh, I thought I loved. Yeah, of course you thought. That's the problem. Heart is, like whether or not you are losing, it's like, did you spend all day in bed? Did you lose space time? Did you forget what day it was? If the answer is yes, you're in love because you're not paying attention to reality. If the answer is in your mind, you're thinking about the future, this is an internet thing or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you're trying to mold the person to be who you want them to be. And actually, I'm using an example of someone that I read for recently, and she had Venus conjunct Neptune. And right now, transiting Neptune is squaring that. And she's in a relationship, and I'm saying it's smoke and mirrors, and you're trying to change this person, and...
Let me guess, he's married.
something, yeah, basically, yes.
He's unavailable, and she's got this Venus-Neptune conjunction belief that one day
They're going to get married, yes.
Right. And so with that's fascinating to share. So with Neptune currently squaring that, like where does it go now? Like does it just go off into infinity like she thinks he bought her a planet or
He is starting to pull away from her and she's
Okay.
trying to hold on tighter. And that is a common behavior that I do see a lot. You know, when one partner's pulling away from the other will hold tighter.
Oh, especially in those
Yeah.
especially in the yin yang of the past life stuff.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
They've got heavy past lives. From memory with this, because I did this reading last week, their Venus, their Pluto's moons are involved with Venus and they're all squared. Something like that.
Yeah, which to me is way heavy past life, you know.
Absolutely.
Let me just tell you guys, if you meet somebody and it's like, oh my God, it's like we've known each other our whole lives. No, your whole past lives.
Yes, yes, that's right. And and if you're together now, there's issues that need to be resolved.
Yes. Before the real one's going to come, as far as I'm concerned. Like, if you want the real one, then you got to work. I get a lot of people, it's like, oh, I love this person when I was 24 and I've thought about it my whole life. I'm like, well, call them up and find out it's not going to work now.
Yes, I hear that a lot too. Or we connected on Facebook, and actually there was a story recently, I did a chart, and they connected again from high school after 30 years,
Thanks to Facebook.
and now they're together, and it
Yes.
seems to be working out really well.
I'm actually seeing a lot of that with my baby boom clients.
Oh, really?
My baby boom, Pluto and Leo, a lot of them had like high school sweethearts, and then they went ahead and married the doctor or whoever their mom wanted them to marry or whatever. And then, like, you know, now they're with the bad guy who, you know, is still driving the Camaro. You know, but he didn't get cancer. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Not yet.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, you know, but a lot of the people who were tight asses end up getting that cancer, is what I'm saying. And a lot of people, you know, it's like the baby boom had a lot of hard lessons. And I think, you know, the Pluto and Leo generation, you know, a lot of them are finding that original love, which might have been their original, what their heart originally wanted, not what they thought might be better for them, you know?
Right. Actually, I have a theory on the Pluto in Virgo generation.
Oh, yeah, tell me.
Well, it's one of the smallest generations of all, because Pluto was only in Virgo for, was it 12 years? A very short amount of time, where it was in Leo for 20-something years.
Ridiculous.
Yes. So the Pluto in Virgo generation, we have to learn about our health. Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing a lot more people that have been diagnosed with health issues at our age. And Virgo is all about health. But what happened in the 50s, they started processing food and adding all these human-made substances into our food and products, and we were the first generation to sort of go through that. So I think what we're here to do as a group or as a generation is to re-look at our own health and how we nurture ourselves. Because, you know, the sign of Virgo is, it's not just the virgin, but it's the pure young maiden holding wheat. And it's interesting because I got diagnosed with celiac disease on top of everything else.
Wow.
So it's made me sort of re-look and rethink that. And I keep meeting more people of my generation that have this issue with their digestive tract.
And wheat.
And
Like
wheat.
your generation that got sick of wheat, literally.
Yes, yes.
That's kind of crazy.
I
but
know,
true.
I
Yeah,
know.
all the wheat stuff. Yeah, the Pluto, I call the Pluto Virgo generation the honeybees. Because they're like little busy honeybees, and like I look at generations as insects because that's what you feel like in context to a generation as an insect. So I feel like they're honeybees, and they're here to heal and create the hive, and you know, and constantly they want to make honey for everybody.
That's good.
You know,
that.
President Obama's Pluto, I think, is 0 or 1 degree
Yeah, very early.
in Virgo, and you know, it's like. I mean, I'm all for healthcare, but I was like, would you quit the drum? And they're like, you know, quit beating the healthcare drum. It's like, oh, Pluto and Virgo, like that's his whole generation's battle cry is to improve healthcare and restore integrity to our health and our bodies.
Absolutely. And also, the earlier that a planet is in a sign, the stronger it is. It's not like it doesn't build up and in the middle it's at its peak. It's actually at the beginning. So, yes, that makes sense.
That's very true, and I find that too. In the first decan or in the first 10, 11 degrees, the heaviness is almost like the raw. Right. I look at that as like almost, it's like it's survival. Like it's all based in, the planets are all based in survival, whereas the higher are all the refining and the more polishing energies.
Right, exactly. Yes. Yeah, the decans are fascinating how you can break a sign down into 3, and then, of course, you're doing the step astrology, so you're breaking that down further.
Yeah, that was my fascination. Mostly from having to do video horoscopes on the web and needing to fill content. That's how the step system came. I'm like, there's got to be more in this chart. You know what I mean? Like, sure enough, God was like, just listen. And there was. You know, since we're on the generations, since we brought Pluto Virgo, why don't we quickly talk about the other couple generations on the planet? It'd be a nice little way to kind of wrap up this little first interview with you. Pluto, let's talk Pluto Libra real quick. What was your experience with Pluto Libra?
Well, my observation of Pluto in Libra, which is the generation primarily born in the 70s, Libra is about beauty. And what I noticed with that generation was tattooing. Yes. Came about with that generation.
Very good observation.
Fascinating.
And I'm in the whole school of I will never get a tattoo. And but Wateki is never about anything. So the fact that I'm never about it is kind of, you know, to me a participant of the same thing.
Right. So it's all, and it's relationships as well.
Yes.
So, you know, because it's finding balance in relationships and how the family structure had changed with that generation. So
we're the latchkey kids that our parents got divorced. Right. So I'm Pluto Libra, so we got into 2 camps, and I got married right off the bat trying to fix everything, and I was like, I was just trying to fix my parents' marriage. Pluto Libra.
Right, exactly. So that's Pluto in Libra.
Yeah, struggling artists. And what about the Pluto Scorpio generation? They're pretty intense, aren't they?
I've done some charts where there's been Mars Pluto conjunct in Scorpio. And they're the people that stick in my mind because they're like the steamroller that will get something done and will see it through to the end no matter what. It's sort of like fight to the death.
Yes.
And, of course, that's when AIDS, in the 80s, so that's when AIDS came about. And because Scorpio is a sign of sex and Pluto is the higher octave of Scorpio. It's its ruling planet. Yeah. So our attitudes towards sex changed, and basically I hear now where the young people, which is Pluto and Scorpio generation, the world has to cater to them and how they do things rather than the other way around, which I think is fascinating because coming from the Pluto in Virgo generation, it's like you respect your elders, children should be seen and not heard. You know, the adult is the authority. But now with this Pluto in Scorpio generation, we're sort of all equal. And I've noticed, even though my daughter has Pluto in Sag, I've noticed that at school she calls all the teachers by their first names. And it's like that, to me, that's an indicator of the equality and how times are changing, and we have to cater to them and fit with them rather than the other way around.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel the same thing. My son's Pluto Sag. Right. So, and I was like, I don't understand, man, like why my son doesn't know how to take out the fucking garbage. Right. Pardon my French, you know, but like, pardon my French folks, but it's like, I mean, I am a self-made man, and he saw me my whole life, and I realized it's like, wow, this generation is almost ready for the age of Aquarius, and like they're ready to have robots take care of everything. They're ready for to have no job.
I really believe the age of Aquarius is part of it because we're all equal. The age of Aquarius. We're coming out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. I have been asked that question a lot of times as well. Are we in the age of Aquarius? Well, an age is 72,000 years. Half an age is 26,000. And so you don't just switch flip the switch overnight. It's really a gradual process in there. But I believe as well that the age of Aquarius, where we're all equal and, human rights, we've just had the gay marriage thing happen. And so I think Pluto and Scorpio generation is, on the back of that as well. So there's a couple of things going on that's a lot bigger than just like individual pieces.
I completely agree. In fact, actually, Pluto in Capricorn now, which is, the rules being reinvented. That's how I look at Capricorn makes the rules, the laws, what we actually sign. This huge pan trade agreement that's up that could really corrupt the earth if it's not correct. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn was the American Revolution. Was the United States Revolution. So the United States went through revolution. The United States has Pluto at 28 degrees Capricorn. 28 degrees, so in the second house, which is why we're so money crazy, right? So what's interesting is I looked deeper into that generation, and I noticed that, the kids that actually fought the revolution were Pluto Scorpio kids. The ones that picked up arms were Pluto Scorpio generation at that time.
Yes, fearless. Yeah. Fearless. Yes. Fight to the death.
Fight to the death. Yeah. Give me mercy or, give me freedom or give me death. It was the Pluto Scorpios. And, so Thomas Jefferson was Pluto Scorpio. A lot of the forefathers that we now call forefathers are Pluto Scorpio, turns out. And he was a backstabber, by the way. Jefferson was a real son of a bitch. He was an Aries, and he was a backstabber. George Washington was Pluto in Libra, which is me. Okay. And I realized that's when I realized, oh my God, I'm the old dude at the revolution? Oh my God, I'm the old dude at the revolution! But it made me understand, okay, the Pluto Scorpions fought the revolution, the Pluto Sagittarius generation kind of reinterpreted the first waves of democracy. Right. Pluto went into Aquarius during the first real era of America, so in the very beginning it was very, very fair, but then moved away from that very quickly, But it's interesting to be in that place again and to see, these kids, the Pluto Scorpions, they're the ones, sexting and, sending pictures of themselves and stuff. And I was like, another thing, I told my son, I'm like, son, if you ever send a picture of yourself, don't include the head. Don't include your head in the nude. He's like, well, duh, Dad. I was like, oh, well, okay. I thought I was helping you out.
I know that. Not that I'm doing that or my daughter, but really? It's like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
I just don't think, with the NSA, getting off on our Americans' pictures somewhere in a database, it's like, we really should all be more conscientious. But Pluto Scorpio, my son's Pluto Sag, but it was already wisdom in his generation. Wisdom.
And actually, I just have to say, 9/11 happened with Pluto in Sag opposing Saturn in Gemini.
Oh my God, that was an amazing...
I know, textbook astrology, but no one could have ever predicted, ever.
Well, I almost wondered. Whoever planned that, and that was obviously planned by some entity, right? I think knew astrology. I think they knew astrology because it was, I think our own, we were already on this gigantic line, like you said, between what we believe and what we think in this gigantic intellectual belief tightrope. And so you couldn't have planned it at a worse time as far as intellectual belief tightrope. Almost to me to think, God, I wonder if someone dark planned this, Nancy Reagan had an astrologer. You know what I mean?
Who actually recently passed away. Joan
Did she really? Wow.
Quigley, San Francisco based.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, this year she passed away. So,
and a good job. That astrologer did a great job. Yeah, did you really?
Did. Yes, I heard this rumor that she would set Ronald Reagan's not press releases, press conferences on a void of course moon.
Yes, I heard that same rumor. Okay, yes.
So void of course moon. Void of course moon means nothing will come of it. Yes. So when he's making these giant world announcements, nothing will come of it. That's why he was called the Teflon president, because nothing stuck.
Yeah.
And as soon as I heard that, years and years ago, I was like, that makes total sense.
I didn't realize he actually did press, he used it. Now, Ronald didn't even know this stuff. Nancy was, in fact, from what I heard in the White House, the calendar on the desk was color-coded because that's how idiotic he was in some ways. You know what I mean? And it was like, on a yellow day, Ronnie can open his mouth. On a red day, Ronnie can't.
That's pretty good. I wouldn't mind having some direction like that.
We're working on the software.
So, so getting back to 2001, when Saturn in Gemini opposed Pluto in Sag, it was just amazing. It's like, as I said, no one could have suspected or predicted anything according to astrology, but even down to the point where Saturn in Gemini, Saturn is structure, Gemini is 2. We have the twin towers opposing Pluto in Sag, which can be radical beliefs, a radical philosophy or belief system. So when you have these two things opposing, it was, as you said, it was too perfect. Did they have an astrologer?
Well, I have to say, I was at the time, my psychic ability had just begun to open, where I was giving it credibility, because I wasn't giving it credibility for a lot other reasons. That's just my childhood. I have Pluto right on the cusp of the third, and Uranus in the third. So I was like, I don't want to be crazy. I don't want to be crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. He was like, but you seem to know things all the time, and so it took a while for me to come to that. But the day before 9/11, I turned to somebody in the office and was like, I feel something horrible is about to happen. It just was so powerful and dark. And of course, at that time, I was like, "Oh, my door's locked. Is everything okay in my life?" I didn't think that there would be some sort of attack or whatever. So it was very planned, because it was very much in the conscious before, and it hit right on the head as far as. And I think going back to Pluto and Scorpio and whatnot. It's now that we're in Capricorn. I mean, I think that we are headed for some sort of re-evolution. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I've been collecting images for every single astrological aspect. And the one that I have for Pluto in Capricorn is it's a protest, and these people are holding a banner or a placard that says "End Corporate Greed." And I'm like, wow, that's really fitting for Pluto in Capricorn. It's like the reconfiguration or the transformation of the structure of what runs things. Because Capricorn is the CEO of the zodiac. So basically, when you have Pluto and Capricorn together, it's like corporations. And I really believe there's going to be a change, well, I'm hoping, I should say, that there's going to be a change with that, with Pluto and Capricorn. It's going to have to make some aspects, I think, to Saturn. And I haven't looked into that. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it off the top of my head, no, I'm thinking Saturn takes 29 years, so it won't go through the whole zodiac by the time Pluto moves into Aquarius, which is 20. I should just look.
Yeah, go ahead. And I was just going to add that I think that Saturn enters Capricorn here after Sagittarius, so I would think that the first wave of fall would happen when Saturn conjuncts Pluto. That would be a guarantee.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's right.
And it seems that, yes, I think taxation without representation this time is corporations, June 2023.
Around that time. It'll go back and forth in and out of, between the two signs. But yes, June 2023.
And I think the essence of it is like, I think you see, within Greece and the euro right now, and Greece trying to fight to get out of the euro. I think that was the first bubble of the people not wanting, because all that is a concession to pay off debt to who? The World Bank. Who's that? A bunch of rich men. Wait a second. Why are we worried about a bunch of rich men getting paid on time? Seriously.
Exactly.
That was the king, and that was the Stamp Act, and that was, and that is, we're getting taxed without representation in that sense. So you can see it all happening again, but it is on a global sense, and it's on a corporate sense, I think, not a king.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
Interesting enough. And, this is probably a good time to wrap up, but one final note, just in the whole idea of monarchies. I just found out that, Princess Diana in Great Britain was a Cancer.
Yes.
Her firstborn is a Cancer.
Yes.
And
solstice, born on the summer solstice.
Yeah, okay, yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Very powerful. And then the grandson is now a step 29 Cancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does step 29 Cancer mean?
29-degree Cancer.
29 degrees. Okay.
So the very, very final degree of Cancer.
Yes, that's right. That's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, I almost wonder if it's Princess Di back. I was so joking. It's like, she's like, oh, I'll be back. Don't worry.
Well, Cancer's all about family, and they're probably the family in the world. Like when you think of a family, it would be them.
Totally. The one representative. And so the lineage now is, as far as Cancers, it's like Princess Di was a step 13, revolutionary Cancer. Oh. Then her son, I think, is step 28. Yeah, step 28. And then the baby, step 29. So that's the final. So as far as Cancer talent is concerned, it was like mom was revolutionary, and then she just like knocked it up to Wimbledon as far as that emotional. And I find people who are high in Cancer are they don't feel so good, but that's because they're making everyone feel good.
Absolutely, they're the caretakers and the nurturers of the zodiac. But I'm thinking something about the Prince George, the little baby, the boy. 29-degree Cancer is the end of something, right?
Well, yeah, yes, absolutely in that sense, like the end and beginning of a.
And I'm wondering if the royal family, through him, will change its role dramatically. Because going back to what we were talking about with the Pluto and Scorpio generation in the age of Aquarius, it's like people are equal now. There's no hierarchy. I mean, there still is, obviously, but it's breaking down the structure. So I'm wondering when he's the king, which will be in, 50 years' time, whenever that is, it will be very, very different for the royal family.
And that baby has Pluto in Capricorn.
Yes. Okay.
At some point, not opposing his son, but definitely opposing his son.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
interesting.
It's a powerful opposition.
Yes.
And mom, Caitlin, is a Capricorn.
Yes, that's right. Kate is Capricorn.
Yeah.
Yes,
Capricorn.
that's right.
So yeah, married is opposite. And I think Princess Di, what was her husband's sign? Charles. Oh, he was a Scorpio. Yeah.
And Camilla, I think his second wife is a Cancer. I can't remember. I think she is.
Huh.
But he's a Scorpio.
He just traded up Cancers, huh?
Yes, that's right. Well, part of the family.
Yeah, well, Scorpios like it cozy, and Cancer and Scorpio often, I find, get along, especially in bed. They tend to.
Okay, I'll take your word for that.
Oh, I have enough clients. My parents, Cancer and Scorpio. No, I had a threesome last night with a Cancer and Scorpio. They're fabulous. No, I'm a Taurus. No, my mom was a Cancer, and my dad was a Scorpio. So I saw that electrical chemistry growing up. And in many of my clients, I think because of law of attraction, I draw in a lot of my parents over and over again in relationships. Like I draw in a lot of my own. So I get a lot of Cancer Scorpio clients, and I see that they fight like hell, but they obviously get along in bed.
Well, same element. That's a given for sure. But I just want to say something as well, that with the readings, I always find I attract people where I'm learning the lesson through their reading as well. It's really interesting.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest secret that you guys don't know. It's like every reading is for me because of law of attraction, right? It gets crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I had people on my birthday, people with my mom's birthday, people with the exact birthdays, my first wife, and God's just showing me like, see how this woman did it completely different than your first wife? I'm like, yeah, I see it.
That's right. They're hard lessons to learn.
Yeah,
sometimes.
We humbly, and that's the thing. It's like
Leo's humbly.
Yeah. We publicly humbly. Right?
Okay.
In the background, we might throw some things. I'll kill, have a couple heads chopped off, but no one will see that.
That's funny.
Well, Kelly, it's been wonderful to spend some time with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're gonna have to come back together and do some compatibility work for people.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, I really love compatibility.
And maybe we can get viewers to write in questions or something on each other's sites.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, get your viewers to write in questions, and then maybe we can answer them.
Let's do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, cool. So you guys heard it here. We're going to both post this video on each other's sites, and the next time we come together, we'll do some romantic talk and some banter and go from there.
Right.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.